Wecreat sent me their newest 20-watt diode laser engraver and cutting machine, and I am going to review it with you in the best way that I know how to do it, and that is with the use of a checklist. Let's get started. Hello everyone, and welcome to Crafting with Delonda. It's me again, Delonda, and thank you so much for joining me today. Now, before we even get into this list of things that we are going to talk about today, please know that this is my first experience with any type of laser machine. I don't have one to compare it to. I don't know. I've never been in the room with another laser machine. This is my first experience, so I am speaking about this machine in the most basic terms. You may have questions at the end of this video that I might not be able to answer. I am doing more of a review, a product review, if you will, rather than a tutorial. So this is all uncharted territory for me, and I'm just going to do my best to tell you what I've learned about this or give you my thoughts about all 10 of these things as we go along. At the end of this video, if you find it helpful, please consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and turning on the bell for notifications, because I do upload new content every single week. Now, without further ado, let's get started. As I was thinking about what is it? What is this machine? What is a Wecreat Vision diode laser engraving and cutting machine? I could only really think about it in terms of how is it different from a Cricut. If you are a part of my crafting community, you know that I started my crafts with a Cricut cutting machine. So in terms of thinking about this and how it's different from a Cricut, well, it has more power. It uses a laser instead of a blade. So with the Cricut cutting machine, whenever I want to cut material, I have to use a blade. This machine uses a laser and it has more force. As a matter of fact, it has 20 watts of force in order to cut through thicker materials and work harder. So that's how you can think about this. I think about this as a powerful machine that is capable of cutting through much thicker wood and engraving a variety of materials, okay? So I think that answers the question. Hopefully it does. If it doesn't, leave me a comment below. Let's talk about the next thing, which is unboxing. And let me show you the little video that I posted on Instagram of me unboxing this. So when both boxes arrived, I really did need my husband to carry them upstairs for me. The Wecreat Vision laser engraving and cutting machine is about 64 pounds, and I'm not sure about the fume extractor, but I did get them out of the box, and they are packaged very well. There's a lot of foam to protect the machine, and so I just got them out and put them up on my table. And now let's look at the setup. What I'm going to do now is remove the tape that's on both sides of the laser, and I'm going to open it up and see what's inside. I can look here and see there's some foam, so that lets me know there is a little bit more unpacking to do. So let me bring you in closer so we can see what's inside. First, I'm going to remove the 4 pieces of tape that are on the left and right of the package. Once I got all of the tape removed, I opened the lid to remove the other pieces of foam and all of the contents of the packaging. So there are examples of things you can do with the laser. So there's a cat that is like an engraved photo. And then those 2 boxes at the top have materials. There's the user manual that I thought I lost. And I did have a little bit of a tough time getting this box from inside the laser bed because it is packed very snugly, but I'm sure that is to ensure the safety of the machine during shipping. Now that I've taken everything out of the laser bed, let's see what's in these boxes. There's an antenna and a hose attachment and a bag of tools and a flathead screwdriver and a USB connector with an additional piece. And then inside the other box, there are other materials. I just really had a tough time getting the boxes removed from the foam. There is the hose and all of the other materials that are necessary for working with the machine. I'll show you the ones that I actually needed to use just to get through this portion of the tutorial or this portion of the product review. I want you to see what the inside looks like with everything removed. There is nothing inside, so if I just touch here, I'm actually touching my table where this is sitting on top of. So I do see there's still a piece of foam right here that I need to remove. And I'm not sure what this is. I think that's attached, but there's foam here that I still need to remove. So I'll make sure to remove that. Let me look at the user manual so I can see how to start to put all of this together. I just removed the protective film from this side. So I'm assuming there's also protective film on this side. There's also protective film on top, but it does have a label to let you know that there's protective film here. In looking at the user manual, I realized that I have the laser engraving and cutting machine that comes with the rotary and premium pack. So I have these 6 additional tools that I need to use with my laser. So all of those extra materials that I didn't know what they were, that's what they are. So the first thing I'm supposed to do now that I have everything out of the box and I've removed all of the foam is I'm supposed to install the exhaust hose connector with the small wrench and the tools. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to turn the machine around and I'm going to attach this to the back of the machine. What I'm going to do is use this small little wrench to remove the nuts that are already here, best I can. Oh, they're not very tight. And I will place the hose here. What I'm doing now is just adding the nuts back on top of the hose connector, and I'm going to use that same little wrench to tighten it up to make sure the hose connector is tightened on the machine. What I'm doing now is I remove the hose clamp and I have the exhaust hose. You know, you have the option to put the hose out of the window so the fumes can be extracted and go out of the window. But since I have the fume extractor, I'm definitely going to connect the exhaust hose to the fume extractor. But first I have to connect it back here. And I'm being 100% honest when I tell you I've never done anything like this before in my life. And I was very intimidated by it. And I really felt like I didn't know what I was doing. But if I can do it, trust me, you can too. So what I did was I opened up the widest part, in my opinion, of that hose. And then I had to unscrew the clamp or the clasp at the top of the hose clamp just by using the flathead screwdriver. And then once I got it on the end of the hose, I just tightened it as tight as I could, making sure that none of those fumes would be in my craft room once I got this up and running. The only thing back here that matches this air assist is this right here. So I'm going to put this down on the table. And I'm going to extend the cord a little bit. And match up the circles and the groove. Twist it in. And there's another piece that goes with the air assist. That's this. And let's see. It just looks like a tube, and it has a blue piece around the end of it. I'm going to attach it right here. Don't do that. Put that right there. And air assist, I'm gonna put this in here. Just like that, okay? And then it says connect the Wi-Fi antenna. So here is the Wi-Fi antenna, and it goes right here. Push it up like that. All right, so we are on step 5. Step 5 says place the laser beds flatly into the compartment and make sure the detachable tray is in place. Please make sure the side of the frame with the screws faces up. I feel like I have to turn this around before I can do that because it opens from the front. So I'm going to actually wait to do that. But what I will do is connect the power supply. Okay, so everything back here is connected. Now I'm going to turn this back around so I can put the laser beds inside. I don't plan to use the hose out the window. I plan to attach it here to the solder fume purifier. So let's get this all set up first. In the packaging that came with the purifier, it came with this sleeve. On the user manual, it's called a bamboo sleeve in one place and it's called a pipe sleeve in another place. But this is the sleeve that has to be attached up here in order to connect the hose from the laser to the purifier. So I'm going to take it out of this bag and attach it up here with the big part, the wide part of it here inside. Just pushing it down. to make sure it's secure. And then I'm going to connect the hose here all the way down. And then I will attach a hose clamp to make sure it's secure. What I'm doing is loosening the hose clamp so that I can open it all the way up and wrap it around the hose. And then once I get it wrapped around, I'll just start to tighten it up, and I'll make it as tight as I can so that none of those fumes are extracted into my craft room. According to the user manual, the next thing you're supposed to do is place the laser beds flatly into the compartment and make sure the detachable tray is in place. But I don't see how to do that with the laser being right there, so I'm not going to do that yet. I really wanted to get this tray inserted first, but since it's not in the user manual, I didn't know where or how to insert it. I tried multiple things until I just figured it out, but it is not in the user manual on how or where to insert this. This tray right here, I just realized that it goes under here, but there's nowhere in the manual that says that. So I tried putting it in here. I've tried multiple things, but you actually have to slide it under the machine. Let me make sure you can see what I'm doing. You actually have to slide it under here, and it'll slide into place. Then you put these on top with the screws facing up. So the screws are facing towards you. You just put these, just lay them in here. So let me let you see what that looks like on the inside. So that's what it looks like on the inside with those two grates, or let me see what they are called, with those two laser beds inside on the top. I'm going to close this and I'm going to power it on. You actually power it on in the back of the machine. This is the start button. This is not the power button. So I'm going to power it on. You'll hear 2 beeps. So when I measure this going across, it is right at about 23 inches. From the top to the bottom, it's right at about 15 inches. And this is with it fully extended up. And then the depth of it is right at about 19 inches. So now it's time to go over to the computer and install the software. Now we're at the computer and I'm ready to install the software. So I went to the Wecreat website and I clicked download for Windows. When I did that, I was prompted to start the download process. And because I'm using a Windows-based operating system, my downloads go to the upper right corner. I double clicked on the file in the upper right corner and then it opened up and gave me options that I needed to follow on the screen to start downloading the software. So I just clicked install and I just followed all of the prompts and I allowed what needed to be allowed in order for the software to be installed on my computer. After I had the software downloaded, before I could actually start to go in and use the software and kind of get to know it, I did need to create an account. So I went through the steps of creating a username and a password. You can see the USB driver is still not installed in the bottom right corner. I double clicked on install driver and I did get that installed. My goal was to connect my computer to the Wecreat Vision via Wi-Fi. However, I found out through a lot of trial and error and clicking that you have to connect via USB cord first. So once you have a successful connection with the USB cord, then you can connect via Wi-Fi. I was so excited about being able to connect via Wi-Fi that I even changed the device name to Delonda's Laser Baby. That's just how excited I was, but I digress. In order to start with the very first project, I followed the directions that are in the user manual. The first thing it says to do is select the text option in the left panel and bring it over to the canvas. So I clicked on text and the word that pops up is the word hello. And when I brought it over to the canvas, I double clicked there and typed my name, Delonda. So that thought that part was easy. The next thing it said to do was draw a circle or select the circle shape and bring it around the text. So I did that. I just selected the circle and I stretched it until it was actually an oval around my name. And then I took a few seconds to just get my name centered in the middle of the oval. The next thing I was supposed to do was select the text and get it all centered and then insert the 3mm basswood into the machine. So at that time I inserted the basswood and I powered it on. And then the next thing I did was I selected engrave. I made sure that my machine was set to 3mm basswood. I clicked the auto focus option. And once I click that, you'll see what will show up is the wood that is inside the laser. Now it's time to actually start the engraving process. So it tells me that this should take 24 seconds. I'm going to click send and then I have to go over to the machine and press the start button. So I'm doing that over at the machine and it will navigate to where it should on the wood and then it will engrave my name. Wait until the task is finished, then open the top lid to meet your first project. So this is what it sounds like. And this is my first project. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited about this. I can barely contain myself. After experiencing that first little piece of success, I was on cloud nine. And the next thing I wanted to do was just try a photo. So I found a picture of Milo that I like, and I just cropped it in my photo editing software, and I just added it to the bottom right corner of the screen. I didn't know how to really make any changes here in the software. Like I said, I was just really playing around with it. I got the machine to autofocus after I put the wood back inside in the laser bed. This took 24 minutes. The next thing I did was I went back to the home screen, and I wanted to try one of the beginner friendly projects that didn't require any gluing or anything like that. I just wanted something quick and easy. And I kind of looked through a few of them and tried to decide if there was something that I thought I could do, knowing that I know nothing about the software and I didn't want to pay any money. So anything that had a charge with it was a definite no-go. But I ended up finding this little, it looked like a coaster, but it was a cut and engrave, and it took approximately 5 minutes. So after I finished the Milo project, I got that one added and I got it cut. I'm going to show you what that one looks like. And then last but not least, I went to the Creative Fabrica website. If you haven't checked them out, make sure you do. And I downloaded a laser file. I uploaded it into the software. I resized it as I needed to so it would fit on the last piece of 3mm basswood that I had. I just resized it as big as I could, and then I started to personalize it by adding our names to those hearts. I needed to add 2 more hearts because there are 5 of us in my family. And I just kind of personalized it just by adding text. I didn't even change the font or anything like that. I just made the name smaller, small enough to fit in the hearts, and I resized the hearts as I needed. And I am going to just go through quickly. I really wanted the hearts to cut around the hearts and not the names. So I wanted the names to be engraved, but I wasn't sure about how to do both. So I did the best I could. I did what I thought I was supposed to do, and it didn't come out quite as I wanted it to, but I am going to show you how all of these projects turned out. Okay, we are on number 7, project examples. So this is a close-up of the engraving that I did of my dog Milo. And this is a close-up of my name. I was so excited about this. I actually cut out my daughter's name, and I'll show you what the letters look like if you want to see that. This is the project that is one of the freebies that's in the software. You can see it up close. You can see how thick it is. I feel like it was an excellent cut. You know, there's still a lot about the software that I just don't know anything about. This is one side. This is how the other side looks. So you can see that it is a very clean cut. I also did I just wanted to see if I could engrave my logo. So this is engraving of my logo. I didn't make any changes to it, and I don't even remember how I did it, like how I got it to engrave and cut, but I was excited that I was able to do that. And last but not least, this was the file that I downloaded from Creative Fabrica. I did not glue it together because I just didn't want to fool with the glue. And I honestly did not want the letters to cut all the way out. So like this is Peter's name and you can see all the letters cut. I wanted his name to be engraved on the heart, but I'm still learning. So I'm not sad about it. I'm actually quite proud of myself that I was able to do as many projects as I did, with this being my first time using something like this. So these are all of the names. Here's my son's name. And then here is my name. And I want you to see the intricate detail of this family tree. Look at that. That is gorgeous. It is fantastic. And I was very, very impressed. This is the other side of it. And here is what would be the backing. So I'm assuming that I would need to glue these together, you know, line it up and then glue it together and then glue the names at the top somewhere and then add the word family. You can see I cut that off. I didn't do a good job of that, but the goal was to just see if I could get through it. So I was able to do the beginner project, do one of the free projects, engrave a photo, engrave my logo, and I even uploaded a file into the software. All of this without having a full, you know, working knowledge of how to use the software in the right way. I do feel quite proud of myself, and I feel like the software is easy enough to learn. I mean, you see, I was able to do all of this, and all I had in terms of materials were these 2 pieces of test wood that came with the machine. Okay, so now let's move on to number 8, where I'm going to talk about the things that I like about the machine, or the pros. Okay, so let's talk about some pros, or things that I really like about this machine. Number 1, I love the fact that it was easy enough to set up. I had never used any of those tools before. I've never used a wrench before, especially a mini wrench. I've never connected a hose. I felt quite accomplished being able to do that. I feel like that was, you know, like as soon as you take it out of the box and you plug in those 5 pieces in the back, it's ready to go. I do feel like it's safe because of the way this works. So once the machine is powered on, if the laser is on, as soon as you open this, then the laser turns off. So I think that's a safety feature. I love the fact that it, you know, lifts up and down. You don't need any extra safety gear in order to use this. I think that it is a nice fair size. I don't think that is too big for a craft room. I do think it's perfect for a hobby crafter, not necessarily for someone who is, you know, into trying to do like mass productions of projects, but I think it also depends on the size of the project that you're making. I do think the price point is fair, but remember, I don't have any other machines to compare this to. I don't have another laser to say, oh, well, this machine costs this amount. This is, you know, I do feel like it's a fair price point. Please note that I do have the additional fume extractor, and that's $600 in addition to this. So, but that is an optional tool. I don't think you have to have that, especially like you see, I have mine in front of a window. And even today when I used it, I used the fume extractor, but I also opened the window because I do feel like it helped to decrease the fumes in here in my craft room. I think the software is easy enough to just kind of navigate through, even if you have no knowledge of how to use it. I had never used it before today. I had never even seen it before today. And I do think that I think all of it all together is user friendly. I was very scared to try this at first. And I'm glad that I overcame my fear. I think, like I said, what if you don't know, this is your first time joining me, one thing I said about 2024 is that this will be the year of doing things that I'm afraid to do. And this was one thing I was afraid to try. I'm glad I did try it out. Now let's move on so I can tell you the things that I don't really like, or that I wish they could change. Okay, let me tell you the things that I did not like about this process. I feel like I'm a very needy person when it comes to the details. I work better when I have all the details, and to me, it's better to have more details or more information than not enough information. So the first problem I had was when it was time to put the laser beds inside. In the user manual, it says, and I quote, place the laser beds flatly into the compartment and make sure the detachable tray is in place. Well, the detachable tray is not in this user manual at all. There's no picture of it, and it doesn't tell you where it should go. So I spent the better part of 10 minutes trying to figure out how to put this tray inside this machine until I realized it doesn't go in at the top. It actually slides in down here at the bottom. But because I've never used anything like this, I didn't know that. Okay, so I just kind of figured that out on my own. I didn't like that. Number two, after I got everything, after I got everything connected, I had it all plugged up. I had connected all the wires in the back, and I went over to install the software on my computer. I knew that I wanted to connect this via Wi-Fi. Well, in order to connect the Wecreat to the computer via Wi-Fi, it has to be connected with the USB cord first. I didn't know that. And of course, this is a desktop laser, so it's intended to be used maybe in a craft room or maybe even an office area. However, everyone is not going to have the laser next to their computer. I'm one of those people. My computer is about 17 feet away from this laser. And so after I got it all set up, and then I wanted to connect it to my computer, I had to scour my craft room and actually unplug one of my printers in order to connect this via USB to my computer so that I could first connect it that way, then connect it to Wi-Fi. Now, of course, Wecreat didn't know that I was going to want to do that, but I'm sure I'm not the only one who's going to want to do that. So if you're planning to purchase this and you know that you want to connect via Wi-Fi and not just keep it connected with the cord, connect it with the cord first, maybe use a laptop or bring it closer to the computer and then connect it to the Wi-Fi before you do all of the other setup. That was the second thing. Third, I'm very thankful. I'm super thankful for the fume extractor. I think it's a fantastic addition. I think it's worth the additional money. I feel like I need, and this is not maybe not a con, but I do feel like I need a longer hose. So I'll probably purchase a longer hose. And in addition to using the fume extractor, there's a car. I'm also going to have my window open in my craft room to help with getting the fumes extracted because I don't want the fumes just circulating here in my craft room. And I think there was, one other thing is that I feel like in the software, even though I managed to get through 5 projects and I did all of them just by chance, really, because I was just playing around with it and I'm nowhere near being an expert on how to use this. I do feel like it's easy enough to get going. The software does not go into enough detail about how to use the features in the software. So the questions are answered at a very surface level. And so for a lot of the questions I had, I really didn't feel like I got an answer. So I just kind of kept playing around with the software in order to get through each process. So hopefully you find this information helpful, and maybe these things are not cons for you, but those are things that if there was a suggestion box, I want to add those things to the suggestion box. Now, let me give you my overall opinion and my, closing thoughts. But before I do that, if you found any value in this tutorial, please go ahead and like this video right now and subscribe to my channel, because I still have not even tried out the rotary function of this Wecreat laser, and I definitely need to do that. But let me give you my other thoughts, my overall thoughts about the machine as a whole. So overall, I do think the Wecreat Vision laser engraving and cutting machine is a fantastic machine for beginning crafters, hobby crafters, maybe even someone who has a small business. I don't think there is a steep learning curve, because really the terminology in the software is basic. It's not very I would not say it's too techy. I was able to get through 5 projects just by playing around with it. I do think the software will get better as, more people start to use it. I think there will be more comprehensive tutorials with the software. I didn't really find any that really helped me to navigate through the software. I did look at a lot of tutorials and just trying to get myself acclimated to the machine. I think that, for the price, this is a good way to start, especially if you are into doing like wood products or things like that. If you have a small business, I do think this will help level up your business and your productivity. Of course, I don't have anything to compare it to in terms of speed or force or power or anything like that, but I'm not going to lie, I was very, very impressed with the way it cut this. I do feel like this has a lot of intricate details, and it cut this excellently. It did not take a long time. I think it was like right at 20 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. I'm not sure. I don't remember, but I feel like no matter how much time it took, it was perfect. I didn't have a problem with it. So hopefully you have found this helpful. If you did, please consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and turning on the bell for notifications, because I do upload new content every single week. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thanks for watching. Bye.